Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany. This is the Brittany Reacts Show. And on this show we talk all things movies and entertainment. We have a very full show for you today. Every week there's just like a bunch of new news that drops and I'm always like, is there going to be enough to talk about next week? And then we get to next week and I'm like, oh wow, there's actually quite a lot to talk about. I want to say thank you to all of you who actually came to my show this late. I know I don't normally do a show at 6 p.m. on a Sunday, but I did tell you guys that I'm in a off-Broadway show right now. And this weekend was actually our opening weekend, so we had a show earlier today at noon. Oh my god, my call time was early in the morning. It was a whole thing. But I'm back, and I was able to have enough time to just finish like putting the show together, so I made the appointment time. I said I was gonna have the show at 6 o'clock, and I made it. So I'm here. Anyway, how are you guys doing? Hi DuBois, hi Natanya, hi Potato Girl, hi Laura B, hi Miss Player, hi B, hi AGM, hi Prototype, hi Natanya, hi Burning Daylighter, hi Alexander, hi Cheetah Viper. Thank you to each and every one of you who came to my show. I deeply appreciate you guys. You are awesome. Okay, so let's just jump straight into the news. Like always, there's a lot to talk about. We have to talk about the crazy marketing campaign that Wicked has going on. They seem to have infinite money to promote this movie, so we're going to go over all of that and look at some of the box office projections. We're going to talk about Rachel Zegler, who cannot stop putting her foot in her mouth and basically ruining and tanking her own career, which is unfortunate because after seeing Hunger Games, I actually think she's very talented. But boy, does she seem to not be able to read the room nor understand the impact of her own words. We're going to talk about that. Also, RedOne, the new rock movie starring also Chris Evans, that flopped. I mean, are we surprised? I haven't seen the movie yet, but I do plan on seeing it eventually, so I will review it when I do see it. But we're going to talk about how badly it's flopping and what this could potentially mean for just like star-driven movies. Like, do movies really do movie stars really open movies anymore? Because like, if The Rock and Chris Evans together can't open a movie, I think it's slim pickings out there for any actor that actually can do that. So we're going to talk about that as well. Hi Josh. Oh, you just got off of work. I'm glad you were able to join the show. Oh, thank you, Jessica. Alright, so let's get straight into the box office news. So, oh, why is this so big? Hold on, let me zoom out. I don't know why this is so massive. So, let's talk about Venom. Venom actually is doing okay, surprisingly. I mean, it opened the lowest opening for any of the Venom movies here in the US, and it is going to make the least overall. But it's doing well enough that it can say that it's at least a modest hit. And it's mostly thanks to the international market. Like, it's doing much better overseas than it is here in the US. But it still managed to pass like $400 million. That's pretty incredible in my opinion for a movie that I thought was absolute ass. If you want to know my opinion on this movie, please go watch my review. I think I posted it like 2 weeks ago. Did a whole like mini review of it, so if you want to know my thoughts, just go watch that. But yeah, did not care for this movie. Thought it was one of the worst movies I saw all year. I can't believe this movie managed to make $400 million. That should make Tom Hardy feel really good about himself. He should feel good. I was just talking about the fact that there aren't a lot of actors that can guarantee a box office, but I'm thinking maybe Tom Hardy is one of them, because I can't think of any other reason why you'd want to see this movie. Maybe you like the banter between Venom and Eddie, but like, I don't know. I just thought this movie was so bad. Like, I can't not recommend it enough. Like, please go do something else with your time. You will waste it watching this, like I did. But I mean, it did alright, so I guess it's okay. I mean, it's not like a massive hit, but at least it's not a flop. I can like safely say it's not a flop, it's just like a decent hit. So, good for them, I guess. Moving on. RedOne. RedOne is a flop. Now, this one I can definitely categorically call a flop. It opened with only $34 million domestically. $34 million! Y'all. And the budget was $250, by the way. I mean, this not only is not going to make its money back, but Netflix is definitely going to lose a pretty penny on this. This is really just embarrassing for both actors because they're supposed to be big names. I mean, Chris Evans was in freaking Endgame, one of the biggest movies of all time. Yeah, it's like without his Captain America outfit on, no one cares when he's in a movie. Which is really, I mean, if I were Chris Evans, I'd be like a little offended. Like, I'm the same dude. Why don't you guys care about my other movies? But people don't seem to. And then The Rock, I think The Rock is really just overexposed. I think he's horribly overexposed, actually. I think people are tired of seeing his face. I think he needs to go away, but he doesn't want to because he's a workaholic. And I think the more we see of him, the worse it's going to be. He needs to take, like, at least 3 years off where we don't see him in anything. Not 3 years off working, because I know he likes to film a lot of things in batch. He needs, like, to schedule 3 years where, like, nothing is even coming out. Like, just take a complete break from the public eye and then maybe come back. Because I feel like people are getting tired of him, and that's why he's not a reliable draw anymore. Because for a minute there in the 2010s, The Rock actually was a reliable draw. Not anymore. I do think his star power took a hit after Black Adam, even though, for how badly Black Adam did, I mean, I think I told you guys in the last live stream that, like, every DC movie since then, including Joker 2, has opened less than Black Adam. So, Black Adam was a massive flop that hurt The Rock's career, but it still did better than, like, every other DC movie since then. Which just shows you how badly DC is doing at the moment. But anyway, I mean, if these two actors together can't guarantee more than $34 million domestically, what are we doing here? I mean, I don't want to sound like too dire, too like, oh, it's the end of an era, the end of an industry, but like, we're gonna talk. I think that's gonna be the theme of today's live stream. Is just, can Hollywood survive? Because with returns like these, this is not sustainable. We cannot keep having like these super expensive movies flop like back to back like this. Yeah, it keeps happening. Eventually, this is going to like upend the whole industry, and I just don't know what's going to happen when basically the chickens come to roost. Because this is just not sustainable. It's really not sustainable. But yeah, has anyone even seen RedOne? Do you think it's good? Apparently people don't like it. I mean, the film has a really low Rotten Tomatoes score. But The Rock, here's the thing about The Rock. I really think he lacks good creative judgment. I really think that he thinks his movies are genuinely good. Like, I think he actually tries to make his movies entertaining. Like, I think he does care about that. But I think he doesn't understand what makes a good movie. And this is a perfect example of what I mean by that. The Rock says when he went to see Oppenheimer in IMAX, he chose to sit in the same seat that Christopher Nolan uses to watch his films. I was thinking, holy shit, RedOne on this screen with this technology is gonna be a game changer. He really thought RedOne was on the same caliber as like Oppenheimer and deserved the same like IMAX Oppenheimer hype. He really thinks this. The man is delusional. He is delusional. He's bought into his own hype. His head is so far up his own butt, he cannot see the forest through the trees. I'm just saying. The minute you equate RedOne, which looks like, I told you guys, it looks like that other movie, what is it called? Red Notice, that I also thought was bad. I mean, it just, for him to even like consider like, oh yeah, let me go check out this Oppenheimer IMAX theater and see like how my movie's gonna look on the big screen. Like, dude, do you not know what your movies are like? Do you, like, the fact that he really thought Black Adam was good enough to launch an entire, like, cinematic universe around just really makes me question his creative judgment. Like, seriously. I don't think he understands, like, his movies are not that good. He really thinks these movies are, like, amazing, like, you know, 5 stars or whatever. And, like, I just really need someone to sit down with him and be like, Rock, you're just not that kind of actor. I'm sorry. Your movies are not Oscar-worthy caliber kind of films. I need you to come to reality. I mean, I like The Rock. I'm not trying to be too mean on him, but I do think he needs a reality check. But what do you guys think? Josh says The Rock is definitely delusional. Yes, he's definitely in his flop era, for sure. Prototype says, it's been 20 years of people treating him like a miracle for making that change from UFC to acting. Yeah, I think it really got to his head. And honestly, he has this boxing movie coming out where I think he's trying to go for an Oscar because he goes through this huge transformation and he keeps talking about how serious the role is. But I feel like the only reason he's doing that is because he's very online. I think he's very aware of what people say about him. And I think he knows that people think he's not that great of an actor, so I feel like now he's trying to prove that he is, but I really don't know if he has the range to do that. I mean, I reserve the right to be surprised, but I really don't think he understands what kind of actor he is. But we'll see. We'll see. Fake Mustache says he's tired of The Rock. Okay. Oh, Cheetah Viper, you liked Black Adam? Did not like it. I didn't even finish Black Adam. That's how much I didn't like it. I got about halfway through and was like, alright, I've seen enough. I think I liked it less than Venom. Although, I don't know. Venom was really bad. I don't know. They're about the same to me. Oh, Un Poco Loco says Black Adam would have been better if The Rock wasn't in it. Some of you guys really don't like The Rock. Like, Vincent says The Rock is done. Yeah, the A24 film, Rob, is what I was talking about. He's trying to go for a more serious film, but, like, I don't know if that movie's going to work out for him either. He needs to stick to, like, Jumanji-type movies. Like, that's his wheelhouse, you know? Like, he's that kind of an actor. He's not a serious actor, but maybe he'll have his come-to-Jesus moment soon. Who knows? We'll see. Gladiator. Gladiator is predicted to do kind of okay. I mean, we don't really know yet. Wicked is still outpacing it in pre-sales, so I still think Wicked is going to handedly win next weekend over Gladiator, which I think is kind of embarrassing for Gladiator, because I think the initial assessment from the industry was that Gladiator was going to be the bigger film, but I think Wicked is definitely going to be the bigger film. I mean, but it opened with 87 million internationally. It hasn't opened domestically yet. It opens next week, but this is kind of okay. I mean, it definitely needs to do better domestically and, like, have long legs, but who knows? I'm not going to say it's, like, definitely going to flop just yet, because maybe it'll do better than we expect, but I do think this is kind of a low start for a movie that has, like, a reportedly, like, stupid budget. I mean, at this point, all these movies have crazy budgets, but I believe this one was, like, over 300 million, like, I believe that was the rumor. So this, yeah, it definitely needs to start off a lot better than this domestically, but I don't think it's going to reach that number. In fact, I really think Gladiator 2 is generally just not drumming up much excitement. I really feel like, I mean, even in my chat, I'm looking at the chat, and you guys do not seem excited. Like, Alexander, what's with the tomatoes? Alexander's literally throwing tomatoes. Like, I don't understand. Rodney says, Ridley Scott having a big ego is bad. I hear it's 300 million. Yeah, I mean, the budget's insane, like $300 million. So, this movie needs to do really well. I mean, it has a lot of big stars in it. It's got Denzel Washington. It's got Pedro Pascal. I mean, if this movie doesn't do well, that just really proves that, like, the value of a name actor is only so much. Because if Denzel Washington and Pedro Pascal can't bring in an audience, again, as I said, the theme of this live stream today is, will Hollywood survive? Because this is not sustainable. This is one of those films that should be a surefire hit, but the fact that it's not just shows you how, like, in a bad position the industry is in currently. Anyone actually interested in Gladiator? I mean, I think the studios are trying to make Glicked happen, like Wicked and Gladiator, but I honestly think the interest in Gladiator is so low that they can't make a Barbenheimer out of it. Like, it's pretty much just Wicked dominating the conversation, and no one's talking about Gladiator. So, that's just really embarrassing for this movie. Yeah, Ronnie said stop trying to make Glicked happen. You know how they're trying to make Glick happen? Like, I saw an interview between Cynthia and Ariana where they even mentioned Glicken, or Glicked. And I feel like when Barbenheimer was happening, the cast of Barbie was trying very hard not to talk about the memes or even bring them up, especially Margot Robbie, because I think Margot is very, like, internet savvy enough to know that when you start bringing up a meme, it dies. So, like, they tried not to talk about the Barbenheimer stuff. Whereas Ariana and Cynthia were literally talking about it in an interview. So I really think they're trying to force this Glicked thing, but I don't think it's going to happen. Anyone planning to see both? Mo Wicked? I don't think there's a good combination of the names. Oh, there was a high-pitched sound. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure what the high-pitched sound is because I don't hear anything on my end. But anyway, it has an 84% on Rotten Tomatoes, so far the reviews are okay. Though I do think that's a bit low for it to be like the debut score. A lot of the times the score usually goes down. I mean, it can go up, but usually it goes down. So if this movie goes in the 70s, that'll actually be quite a low Rotten Tomato score for this movie. So hopefully it goes up. It really needs to have good reviews for this movie, I think, to do well. But yeah, I do think 84% starting is not great. But who knows? Maybe it could go up and reach the 90s. But for now, this is a bit lower than I was expecting out of the gate. Because usually the first reviews out of the gate are like a lot more positive. That's why it usually goes down after that. Yeah, the fact that this movie is in the danger of reaching the 70s is not good. But hopefully it doesn't. We'll see. Speaking of... Oh wait, before we even get to the entertainment news, I do have like one piece of AI news. Just one. I know you guys don't always love it, but I have to share this stuff with you. So, Coca-Cola, you know they have an annual Christmas commercial, at least here in the US. I don't know if they air this around the world, but in the US they always have like a yearly Christmas commercial. This year, they recreated it with AI. Like, this entire thing is made with AI. And you can even tell because, like, especially, like, the part with the people, like, the faces look very plastic to me. And that's all 2-second clips because that's all AI video can really do at this point. I bet this ad was very cheap. I bet this ad was super, super cheap because they literally didn't have to film anything. I think this is potentially the future of AI. And I think this is the future of commercials in general because I see a lot of like companies wanting to do this just to save money, especially as AI video gets better. And of course, once commercials start using AI and it looks just as good as like a regular commercial, I think the next step is obviously Hollywood using it for film. So this is only the first step in a long journey of AI taking over the industry. I do think that this commercial is significant. I mean, it got 50 million views because everyone's like in disbelief that they made a whole commercial with AI. But I really do think this is just the beginning. I do see a super chat from Shelly Lee. Oh, thank you so much, Shelly Lee. You're always so generous. I really appreciate you a lot. Your makeup is pretty, sweetie. I'm seeing both Wicked and Gladiator. Oh, I'm glad you're seeing both. So there's one person who's doing the Wicked thing. I mean, I'm going to do both, but I don't know if everyone's going to. Not like how everyone did Barbenheimer, or at least a lot of people did. But thank you for the super chat, and thank you for just the compliment. I appreciate it. But anyway, any thoughts on the AI commercial? Are you guys excited about AI taking over, or you're like, this is creepy? Because I mean, I just froze on the two faces, and like, there's something about it that just still feels really uncanny to me. Like, it doesn't feel super real yet. But what do you guys think? Nicholas says, seeing a bunch of AI Christmas ads in the UK right now. Maybe one of them is AI. Maybe this is just a US thing that Coca-Cola does. But, I mean, usually the annual Christmas commercial is like a big deal. I think that's why everyone's freaking out over this AI thing. Prototype says, honestly, if it only sticks to commercials, it wouldn't be so bad. I just don't want it doing movies or taking jobs away from artists. I don't either, but I do think once most commercials are using AI, it won't be long before Hollywood will use it in films. I really do think it's just the beginning. Yeah, most of you guys are like, I don't like this. This feels cheap. This is awful. I have to agree. I actually don't even think this is a good commercial. I think it lacks a lot of charm and whimsy, and that's huge for Christmas. So yeah, I don't even think it's that good of a commercial, but it is significant just for like what it is. But anyway, moving on from this, because we do have a lot of entertainment news to go over. Going back to Gladiator, So they're doing actually something pretty cool. So Airbnb and Paramount are teaming up for a Gladiator experience where a select few guests can attend and battle in the Roman Colosseum. It will be only it'll literally be free, $0 per person. And it's available to, sorry, what is this? What? Oh my god. Okay. And it is available to book on November 27th. So, you could literally go here and try to battle it out, I guess, like, for pretend as part of marketing for this movie. Now, this is cool marketing. This is the kind of, like, interesting, unique marketing that I think more movies should be adopting. I really think that in this day and age where, like, not a lot of people even look at ads, like, the only ads I ever see are on social media because I don't watch cable or anything like that. And I have YouTube Premium, so I don't even see ads on YouTube. So the only time I see ads are when I'm scrolling through social media. So it's really hard to, like, get people to see marketing. And I think the best way to do marketing right now is to do stunts that go viral. And this is the kind of thing that I think could go viral. So I think this is really smart. Maybe it'll garner more interest for people. I mean, if I lived in Rome, I'd do this. Like, this sounds super cool. I kind of wish that they had, like, a screening there and, like, you were able to, like, watch the movie in the Colosseum. I think that'd be cool. But anyway, I just thought this was interesting and I wanted to bring it up. Because I do think this is the kind of marketing that I think more studios should be, like, diving into. But moving on. Denzel Washington reveals that there was a gay kiss cut from Gladiator 2. He said, "I kissed a man in the film, but they took it out. They cut it. I think they got chicken. I kissed a guy full in the lips, and I guess they weren't ready for that yet." Now, this ties into a much larger conversation that we're going to kind of have later on once we talk about the Rachel Zegler situation, where I do feel like Hollywood is in the middle of a pivot. I mean, I think they were already slowly pivoting before the election, but now, definitely since the election, I think Hollywood is like, oh shit, like, at least half the country really doesn't like us and doesn't agree with us, maybe even more than half. So, there's been a lot of rumors that, like, ABC, for example, so basically Disney plans on, like, incorporating more, like, pro-Trump pundits on their news networks, like The View. And I've been hearing a lot of rumors about, just in general, like, Hollywood trying to pivot to the center and not being so obviously left biased. And I feel like this is part of that. I think I don't know what the reason is exactly, but if I were to pontificate, I think the reason they probably cut this is because they don't want any sort of backlash. It used to be that they would cut gay kiss scenes because they didn't want backlash from China. Now I think it's also they don't want backlash from the US. So I do think this is a larger sign of politics shifting in Hollywood. Maybe not like the people are suddenly more conservative, but I do think that studios are more conscientious and aware of the political stuff that they're putting in their movies, and I think they're trying to make a pivot more towards the center. So I think we're going to start seeing more stories like this, where, like, they were going to do something, but they decided not to. And I just think that I have mixed feelings about this, and here's why. So, in my honest opinion, I really do feel like Hollywood had started taking the LGBT representation too far. Like, I felt like not only were a lot of the representation was not done very well, but I think that, like, they were just doing it too much. Like, you don't need LGBT representation in every single movie and every single show. And I think that it was getting to be to that degree. And I think that's where some of the backlash is coming from. It just feels, I think some people feel like it was just too much and that it wasn't natural, like they were just being, like, lectured to, or a lot of the stuff was just being forced in there. And I think part of that backlash is why the election turned out the way that it did. So I feel like, even though the Romans were hella gay, Like, if they did keep this gay kiss, it would have been very accurate to the times. I do feel like, though, like, we just had Agatha. Agatha was hella gay, right? And, like, Heartstopper as well. Like, if you want gay representation, there's some actual good gay representation out there, right? But it doesn't mean it has to be in everything all the time, because when you start putting it in everything all the time, then it starts to feel like you're pushing an agenda down people's throat, and people really don't like that, even when you agree with that agenda. So, I feel like this kind of movie, Gladiator, truthfully doesn't need this. What if they had kept it in, would I have been mad about it? No. But I'm not upset that they cut it, because I don't feel like it really needed it, to be honest. And maybe it would have felt like they were just doing it for the sake of it. Maybe it was good representation. We will never know now. But I do feel like this is the kind of movie where it's like, okay, it kind of makes sense where you didn't need it here. I know that's a controversial opinion. So what do you guys think? Please feel free to disagree with me. What are your opinions on this situation? Okay, Negrette agrees with me. Okay. Red Banana Green says, no one cares, like they were Romans. Like I said, if they did keep it, it would be historically accurate. The Romans were very, very gay. Uwen Pocoloco says, gay representation for baiting to communities is wrong. It's insecure and it's pandering. I agree. I actually agree. Which is why I think representation needs to be done well, or it just comes across as insincere pandering, and then nobody likes that. Leo Galaxy says, so including gay characters depends on who wins the presidency? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that I think that the result of the presidency is showing Hollywood that they can't, I don't think that they should, nor that they can, keep insisting on every single piece of media they put out having an only left-leaning bias. Because that leaves out a whole other half of the country that now is repelled by the stuff that they make. And if, again, going back to the whole theme of this live stream, if Hollywood really wants to carry on, if Hollywood wants to be sustainable, they can't keep being so politically biased. They kind of have to go back to the center, because that's where the majority of the country is. And that's just the truth of it. But Evil Connor's like, just make all the characters gay. Okay. You would like that, Evil Connor. But I don't think that it would even fit every project. Nethstar says, like if your gay friend kept saying, hey, do you know I'm gay every other sentence, when really it should just be treated as a norm and not a big spotlight to put a pat on the back. I totally agree. I totally agree with that entire sentiment. It's like, you love your gay friend, right? But if your gay friend kept reminding you they were gay like every other sentence, you would start getting annoyed with them, right? Doesn't mean you love them any less, but it's like, can you stop? Can you chill? And I feel like that's where Hollywood was getting to that point, especially like Disney. But I know this is a very controversial subject. And we have more controversial subjects to get to, so let's just keep going. But again, speaking of Denzel, he will apparently star in the next Black Panther movie, Black Panther 3. Ryan Coogler is currently writing a role for him in the film. So I think this is very smart. I think this is actually incredibly smart on Marvel's part. And the reason why I think this is very smart is because I think part of the backlash that Black Panther 2 went through is because they decided not to recast T'Challa. I understand why they didn't. I understand like the personal, emotional reasons why they didn't. But I think in retrospect, that was obviously a bad idea, because I think part of the appeal of the first Black Panther was the sort of black male characters. It was T'Challa, it was Michael B. Jordan's character, Killmonger. Those two were like, just having like a macho black male figure in the movie, I really think is what help sell the movie, especially to the black community at large. And I think once they decided not to recast T'Challa, and obviously Killmonger was only there for like that one brief scene, I think that honestly it hurt the movie. It really did. And so I wonder if Kevin Feige and the rest of the Marvel execs were like, well, for the next one, we really need a strong male presence. And they were like, who's the most macho black guy we know? Oh yeah, let's get Denzel Washington. Like, I really feel like that must have been the thinking. Like, we just need, like, a strong black male character. Oh yeah, let's get Denzel Washington. Because I really do feel like he fits that type and that archetype that, like, fits in this world really well. And I think that might actually help lift Black Panther 3 to be more successful, because Black Panther 2 was less successful than Black Panther 1. It didn't even make $1 billion, which was, I'm sure, surprising to them. So I'm hoping with Denzel being such a big star and being, like, you know, a strong male presence in the movie, I'm hoping that helps Black Panther 3 be more successful. But we'll see. We'll see. I do think this is a very smart move on Marvel's part, though. Oh boy, Kachina, thank you so much for the super chat. All gay all the time, or theater. Hi, Brittany. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. Star Pop says, wouldn't it be pandering on the other side to give a man a huge role to make it more marketable? Yeah. You could say that, like they're pandering to men with this. I think that's a fair argument. Prototype says, hot take, Killmonger was my favorite part of the first movie. I don't think that's a hot take. I think a lot of people feel that way. Kevin Davis says, Chadwick Boseman is Black Panther. People still going to criticize Ryan Coogler. Well, I don't think he's playing Black Panther. They're not casting him as Black Panther. They're just casting him as a key role in the movie. So, I don't think this is like them trying to replace the character, but I do think they're trying to replace, like, a strong male lead in the role. I think that's why he's being cast. Any other comments? Josh says, this makes me more excited for Black Panther 3. See, Josh is more excited. So I really do think this was a good idea. I really think this is going to help the movie. And I want the movie to be successful because, as you guys know, I actually really liked Black Panther 2. I know most people didn't, but I actually really liked it. And so I want the Black Panther franchise to be successful. I don't want what happened to Ant-Man 3 to happen to Black Panther 3, where, like, the bottom just completely falls out. And I do think before this decision that the movie was in danger of that happening. But now with him being in the movie, I really do think it could still be really successful. So looking forward to that. All right, moving on. So let's talk about the marketing campaign for Wicked. Like, wow. Like, wow. So, you guys remember the campaign for Barbie, right? And how, like, it felt like Barbie mania was everywhere. There was Barbie merchandise for everything. I even made an entire video basically talking about the marketing for Barbie because it was just so intense. Well, Wicked said, oh, I see you. And let me do one better. Because I feel like the Wicked campaign is trying to outdo the Barbie campaign, and I didn't know that was possible. So let's just go over everything that's been happening with this campaign. So, I mean, this is a poo crave tweet. This is not real. But I wanted to share this just because it's become, like, the marketing has become so prolific for this movie that I feel like, everyone basically has been making fun of it. Like, everyone's like, what is the budget for this? And, like, Pooh Crave even made a joke. They were like, the marketing budget for the upcoming Wicked movie has officially surpassed the U.S. military. I mean, that's what it feels like. I mean, I really want to know what the heck the budget is for the marketing, because I feel like it's every freaking where. It's actually insane. I mean, look at how many likes this tweet got, because I feel like a lot of people just feel the same way. They've had a lot of collaborations. They've had a collaboration with Build-A-Bear, Lush, Theory, Lexus, Stanley, Peter Alexander, Aldo, Hilton, M&S, Vera Bradley, and Crocs. Those are just some of the products that they've had collaborations with, right? And then on top of that, they also had this Target commercial that's been memed to death, starring Cynthia Erivo, when she, you know, does the big Wicked note at the very end. They also, for some reason, had the Kardashians involved. This was, like, one piece of marketing that I really didn't like. I don't think anyone liked. Are the Kardashians even relevant still in 2024? Like, why? Why did they think that, like, people would want to see this movie more just because the Kardashians are excited? Like, this is not 2016. I just feel like this is like the one part of the marketing campaign where I do feel like it was a big miss, because I'm just like, who is this for? Is anyone a Kardashian fan? Is anyone like, oh yeah, I'm more excited now because they saw it? I'm like, I just feel like this was a bit out of touch, personally. But they did it. Oh, there's another super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat, guys. You guys are really incredible. Thank you. Can you make a video talking about who you think will win opening night and ticket sales worldwide, Sonic 3 or Mufasa? Probably won't have time to make a whole video, but between Sonic 3 or Mufasa, I think Sonic 3 handedly. In fact, I honestly think Mufasa's gonna flop pretty badly. We talked about it last week, how like the projections for Mufasa are actually really low. I'm just feeling no hype for that movie. Like, zero. So I think Sonic 3 will beat it pretty easily, actually. Did I offend any Kardashian fans? Okay, Alexander, you got the tomatoes again. Moving on. I mean, they even decked out a 7-Eleven in Mexico for some reason. What does 7-Eleven have to do with Wicked? I have no idea. But, like, look at this. This isn't even digital. This is real. They actually did this. They're just doing anything at this point. They've had like umpteen million premieres. This is one recently from New York, but they've had one in like, I feel like every continent on the planet. This is not the first premiere. This is like the 5th premiere. And these premieres are not cheap, so that's another expense. They had a Wicked experience open in Universal's Orlando, where you can see lots of basically sets and costumes from the movie. I mean, this is pretty normal marketing, but I still feel like they didn't have to do this. Clearly, the studio has a lot of faith in this movie. Also, they made this like replica thing. I mean, like I said, they're just doing anything at this point. Like, what even is this? I mean, obviously this is Oz, but like, why? Why are they doing this? I don't know. It's really cool though. It's really cool. But they're really going all out for this movie. And clearly the excitement is there. The teaser of just Ariana Grande singing a part of Popular, one of the most popular songs from Wicked, it has 67.4 million views. 67.4 million people, or at least 67.4 million views worth of people who are interested enough in hearing Ariana sing this song actually like click to listen to it. Like, that's how much excitement there is for this movie. I don't know if 67.4 million people are going to watch it in theaters, but I do think this just shows you that the hype is there, where like I don't think the hype is there for Mufasa, for example. And a lot of people were very like negative about this clip. I didn't think it was that bad, honestly. I think people were being dramatic. I did hear a clip of Cynthia singing one of the songs from the movie, though, and I thought that was bad, but I thought Ariana sounded good. Did anyone actually listen to this popular clip? I hope Wicked does reach $1 billion, Rodney. I think it has the potential. In fact, the box office projections, they're saying that it could open over 125 million domestically, which would be pretty good. But there's also hope for it to reach $1 billion globally, so it could be $1 billion grosser if people really like it. And so far, the reviews have been stellar. So if people really do like this movie, especially Wicked fans, I can see this movie legging it out to like being a pretty high grosser. If not $1 billion, I think it can get really close. I think the potential is there. Evil Connor says, I still hate how washed out this film looks. All dull like Peter Pan and Wendy. I want a bright and shiny Emerald City, baby. Yeah, I do think the lighting, or maybe it's the color grading, is a little weird in certain scenes. I did say that when I was reacting to the trailer, that I thought it's weird how they built so many sets practically, but they gave it this like glossy finish so it still looks fake anyway. That's been like my one critique with this movie, is that I do feel like whatever they did to it in post made it look a little weird. But I still think it looks good overall, and I'm excited for it. You guys know I'm excited for it. I've got my tickets already for Friday. I'm seeing it. And by the way, my show is on Thursday and Saturday, so I'm literally seeing it in between two shows. because I was making sure that I was watching this movie. Oh, Nick says you think the color is unique and cool. Okay, so there's always someone who likes it. Miss Player says, I want Wicked to succeed more than Moana. I do too. I heard Moana 2 was made and it's not good. Interesting. I actually heard Moana 2 was good. Well, who knows? Who knows? As you guys know, I'm actually not that excited for Moana. I am going to see it because I should review it for the channel, but like it's not one of my most anticipated movies. I would love it if Wicked made more than Moana, but I really don't actually see that happening. I think Moana 2 is going to be a juggernaut. But it would be surprising if Wicked made more. That'd be cool. Anyway, moving on. Now, the Wall Street Journal did just come out and say that the budget for both of these movies, Wicked 1 and 2, is $320 million. So that's $160 million per film. That is a lot of money. And that's not even including the crazy marketing budget. And we just went over all the marketing that this movie is going through. Like, insane marketing. In fact, I didn't even show you everything. That's just a taste of, like, how much they're marketing this movie. So I wouldn't be surprised after marketing, like, they actually spent something crazy, like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was something like close to 500 million. At least in the 400s. Like, these movies have to be successful in order to make money because they spent so much on them. Universal really believes in this movie, or this franchise. So I hope it makes money. I really do, because I want part 2 to not be so embarrassing. Wouldn't it be embarrassing if, like, part 2 came out and, like, the first one was a flop? I really don't want that to happen to these movies, so I'm really hoping the first one is a hit. Oh, Josh thinks that this budget is impressive. I mean, 160 per movie is, these days, that's actually pretty low, at least it's not in the 200s. But combined, plus the marketing budget, I do feel like that's a lot. That's still quite a lot of money. Thankfully, it's looking like it might actually do well, but it's still, I still think together it's still a lot. Will French says, you're nervous that Wicked Part 1 will be a hit, but Part 2 won't. I was actually considering that myself because most of the most popular songs are in the first part. So I'm assuming they're going to end with Defying Gravity. The only, like, super popular songs in the second act are, like, No Good Deed and As Long As You're Mine, maybe? But there aren't, like, you know, there's no Defying Gravity or Popular in the second act, really. So I do think the second part could be less successful than the first, just for that reason. But who knows? Maybe the first one's so good that people just have to see the second one. We don't know. But I'm very excited for this movie, as you can see. Oh, For Good. There's also For Good. That's true. I don't think it's as popular as, like, the Act 1 song still. But maybe that's just my opinion. But moving on. Oh, there was an issue. So on the back of some dolls, they put Wicked.com instead of WickedMovie.com. And Wicked is a porn site. Or I guess I should say prawn. I don't want to get censored. So yeah, not good, especially since this is aimed at children. But apparently, so many people have been looking this up that the website has had the highest levels of web traffic in over 12 years. Which I'm really hoping this is mostly people who have heard about this and wanted to see the site for themselves and not like kids who were looking on the back of this package and being like, oh, let me go to the website. I mean, I know when I was a kid, I was never reading the back of like the packages. You know, once I got my doll out, I just threw the package away. So I'm hoping this is mostly like people who are curious because they heard this story and not because a bunch of kids looked up this website, because that would be awful. Yeah, this is a really big mess up. A really big mess up. I don't know if they're going to recall these dolls, but very awkward. Yeah, Mattel could get a lot of lawsuits because this is obviously not good. Du Bois says, I just stepped away for a second. Yep, you came back at an interesting point, right? Yeah. Really big mistake. I just thought this was kind of funny, but also kind of sad, because I really hope kids aren't looking up this site. I really hope they fix this. I don't know how they can, but I really hope they fix this because that's a huge risk for Mattel. But anyway, moving on. So there's a lot of stuff coming out that I wanted to just let you guys know about. So the Bridget Jones is coming out with another movie. Yeah, another movie? Didn't they just come out with a sequel like a couple of years ago? And like, I feel like that didn't really do that well. So I'm surprised that we're getting another one. Also, I mean, no offense to all of these actors, but like, the first one came out so freaking long ago. All of these actors were like a lot younger when this whole like franchise started. So it's so weird that it's like, they're now all old when like, Bridget was supposed to be like a young something in the first one, and now it's like, this is a movie for your grandparents, you know? I don't know. I just feel like the Bridget Jones series ran its course, and I just don't understand why Hollywood doesn't let franchises die. Like, this is definitely one of those franchises where you're like, I don't think we needed another one. I don't think so. And I like the first Bridget Jones, by the way. I understand why the first one's a cult classic. I like that movie. But, like, do we need more? And is Bridget still such a messy person? Like, did she never evolve or grow? Like, I don't know. Anyone interested in the Bridget Jones movies? Yeah, they just will not let this franchise die. Rob says, is this the longest running rom-com franchise? You know what? It might be. Because we've had reboots of rom-coms, but we haven't had, like, one consistent franchise where the same actors keep showing up. I think this could be. I mean, it's like, the first one came out, like, 20 years ago, right? Like, maybe more than that? Like, it's a pretty old franchise at this point. I'm seeing no one is excited. Like Evil Connor says, like, what are we doing? I have no idea. I don't think anyone in my chat is in this movie's target audience. I just thought it was really funny, and I was like, why in the world? I did tell you guys last week that they're doing a live-action Lara Croft, or a Tomb Raider movie, and that they were considering Sophie Turner as one of the key actresses to play the role, and it seems like she is the main one that they want. So she is in talks to star in the movie. She hasn't been cast yet. She's still in talks, but I mean, what is no offense, but what is Sophie Turner doing? She could definitely do this movie. And it would be huge for her. She hasn't had a big leading role in a movie like this since that awful Phoenix movie. So if she can prove that she's a better actress than she was in that movie, this could be really good for her. So I really like Sophie Turner personally, so like personally I'm rooting for her. However, I don't think she's a good fit for this role at all. I think she's not a good Lara Croft. I think Lara Croft needs to be a bit sexier. Not saying Sophie Turner can't be sexy, but like she doesn't have that automatic sex appeal that like, say like someone like Sydney Sweeney would have. I feel like that's who the character fits more of, and that's like why people like the role. So I don't know. I don't think she's a good fit, but I do like Sophie Turner personally, so I'm like, go Sophie, but I'm also like, I don't think you're right for this. Do you guys think she's right for this role? Do you guys see Sophie Turner as Lara Croft? Nicholas Wilson says, no hate, but Turner's not muscular enough. Yeah, I mean, she could go to the gym, she could, beef up, but I just don't think she has, like, the demeanor. Not even just the physique, but the demeanor for the role. Yeah, okay, Josh likes Emma Corrin. I do like Emma, but I don't know about Emma either. She at least is more zany and more like upbeat than I think Sophie is, and that's something at least. But I don't even know if Emma would be the correct choice. I really do think it needs to be someone like a Sydney Sweeney type. I really do. Yeah, Evil Connor. She looks, or at least feels, too delicate, right? That's kind of how I feel about her. But anyway, let's move on. So we also got a new trailer for the next Mission Impossible movie. You guys know I love the Mission Impossible movies. I won't spend too much time on this because I know a number of you guys don't watch these movies or don't care. But I'm bringing it up because I feel like this movie is doomed before it even opens. This is a part 2 of a part 1 that no one saw in theaters because Barbenheimer just stole all the thunder. And it has a crazy high budget because this was coming after Top Gun and they thought Tom Cruise could do no wrong. So the good news is they are promoting this movie as the final movie. Like, if you actually watch the trailer, there's lots of clips of previous movies, as you just saw. Like, they're really hammering home the nostalgia of, like, oh, this is the last one. It's been a ride. It's been a journey. Now come see how it all ends. Now, I did tell you guys last week that it seems like Paramount and Tom Cruise were kind of in disagreement over whether or not this should be the last Mission Impossible movie. But I feel like maybe Tom lost the fight because this trailer very much markets this movie as the final movie. So I don't know if we're going to see another Mission Impossible after this, but I think if we do, it'll probably be an extremely long time, and only because Tom wants to do it, not because Paramount wants to do it. But honestly, I think this movie is likely to do so poorly at the box office that this probably will be the final one. But I do think the trailer looks good. I think all these movies look good. They are all kind of the same. I know some of you guys keep saying that, but I really enjoy these films. I love seeing Ethan run. I'm still looking forward to it. I think it looks good. I think it's very telling that they are marketing it like it's the final one. So yeah, I'm definitely going to see it. Anyone still interested in these Mission Impossible movies? Oh wait, is that? Hey, they brought her back! I didn't even see this the first time I watched the trailer. Oh, they brought her back. That's so great. Haley Atwell, that's her name, right? I'm really glad they brought her back. I liked her a lot in the last one. But yeah, anyone still interested in these Mission Impossible movies? Are you planning to watch this one? Do you think it'll be the final one? I mean, they are calling it the Final Reckoning, to be fair. Vincent says this movie will flop. Rob says final is never final. That's very, very true. It does say Final Reckoning, but it doesn't mean it's actually final. I mean, they called Avengers Endgame, and we all know that was not the end of Marvel. Dylan. My mom loved Mission Impossible movies. Not loved, past tense. See, I really think this franchise is another franchise that has gone on for too long. I really feel like there's just not a whole lot of interest in it left from the general public, which is sad because I really like these movies, but I have to admit that I think I'm increasingly in the minority. But Josh is intrigued. You like this series too? That's cool. Evil Connor. Now imagine how much cooler this film would be if Ethan came out as gay. I love how you just want everything gay, Evil Connor. You're very funny. But anyway, I just had to show you the trailer because I'm looking forward to it. Euphoria Season 3 is actually happening, y'all. Like, what? I really thought this show was going to get canceled. I super actually thought this show was going to get canceled. I thought there's so many rumors about how Zendaya and Sydney Sweeney don't get along. They don't want to work together. All these actors are like 30 now. And I always thought it was ridiculous that these characters were in high school anyway. Some of the actors have died, unfortunately. There's been a whole bunch of unsavory things that have come out about the main writer. So I'm just like, I really thought this show was going to get canceled, but apparently not. Apparently Season 3 will begin filming in late January. So it will have 8 episodes, so it's a full season, not a short season, like a full season. Are you guys still looking forward to more Euphoria, or were you kind of expecting it to be canceled too? Like, is anyone like, oh yes, more Euphoria, or you're like, why? I think we should kind of end it. Because to be honest, I mean, I don't watch the show, but like I said, this show is so prolific on social media. I feel like I've seen the show just through all the memes and GIFs and stuff. From what I understand, Season 2 was a bit controversial in that not everyone loved it. So, I don't know. Are you guys still looking forward to Season 3? Josh says you hope this is the final season. Alexander says they should cancel it. Evil Connor is very happy, though. Cheetah Viper says, never seen a single episode of this show. Well, it's very popular. It's very popular. I think this will probably be the final season. I can't imagine them getting a Season 4. I really do think this will be the last season. For sure. And I think it should be, because I think the storylines are getting out of control. Again, haven't seen the show, but I know so much about it. I actually know what's going on in the show currently, and I think that the storylines sound ridiculous. So I'm like, how are you guys going to continue with this? But anyway, moving on. Lady Gaga has been cast in Wednesday season 2. Now, she could just be guest starring in it. Like, it could just be a quick role. We don't know how big this role is, if it's just a cameo, because Lady Gaga's song Bloody Mary went viral during the first season. So it could just be like a quick, like, cameo type thing. But it also could be a role. I don't know. I'm just happy that Gaga's still getting more work after Joker 2. I really thought after Joker 2 she might struggle to get more work for a while, but the fact that she's still, like, getting hired, I think is a good sign. Now, I do think it's a step down that it's a TV show, a Netflix TV show at that. I wish that she would stick more with, like, movies, because I see her more as, like, a theatrical actress, but I still think Wednesday's a big enough IP and a big enough show that I don't think that's gonna, like, ruin her career to be on it, you know? Like, I think she'll be fine, but I do want her to, like, go back to movies after this. Like, I don't want her to step down and just, like, start doing TV for a while. Like, I don't think she should just give up after Joker 2. Like, I hope she goes back to movies. But are you guys excited for Lady Gaga in the next season of Wednesday? How many monsters are in my audience? Oh, Josh says, I hope she makes songs for Wednesday season 2. That's a good idea. I think that's a really good idea. Although I didn't like her song for Top Gun, so I don't know. Aaron's excited. Okay. Andrea didn't even know there's going to be a season 2. Yeah. Wait, Alexander says Lady Gaga still needs to fire her agents and switch talent agencies. I actually think Gaga's choices have been solid. Like, I think with The Star Is Born, that was perfect for her. I think that really did, like, set up her acting career for success. It's just that House of Gucci didn't do very well, so that kind of was a setback for her. But I even think that I understand why she took on House of Gucci. Because on paper, it sounded good. Like, it was about fashion, which is very much, like, related to her and her persona. It starred, like, a bunch of other big names, like Adam Driver. Like, it was directed by freaking Ridley Scott. Like, on paper, House of Gucci seemed like a good idea. So I understand why she went with it. It just didn't turn out that well. And the same thing with Joker. I mean, the first Joker made $1 billion. So I'm sure she also thought, like, oh, the first movie got a bunch of Oscar noms and it made a bunch of money, so it makes sense to do the sequel. Like, I don't think this is a situation where Lady Gaga is just choosing a bunch of movies that aren't good on purpose. I think every decision she's made makes sense. It's just, it hasn't all worked out for her. So I don't think this is like an issue with her agent. I just think she's had some bad luck, unfortunately. I actually don't think this is on Lady Gaga at all. I think she's just been very unlucky. So that's my opinion anyway. The Game of Thrones movie is officially happening. I did mention earlier that they were considering it, but now it's officially in the works, and it's very early in the process. So we don't know much about it. We don't know where in the timeline this will take place or which characters will be in it, but I think this is a very good idea. I think Game of Thrones has a big enough fan base that you could get a big hit movie out of it. And I think that just the scope and scale of Game of Thrones is very easy to translate to movies, because it already looks very cinematic. And now I'm just imagining, like, seeing Westeros in IMAX, and I'm like, yes, please give me that. So as a huge Game of Thrones fan, this makes me happy. I think this has a lot of potential to be a hit. I think this could be very successful. Well, it has to be good, though. It can't be like Season 8 bad. It has to be good. Or even House of the Dragon Season 2 bad. It has to be good. But if it's good, I think this could be really, really successful, because I think the fan base is big enough. Is anyone looking forward to a Game of Thrones movie? AA Gift says this is going to be epic. Andrea says, my parents are obsessed with Game of Thrones. They won't stop talking about this once they find out. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen the show, because I know not all of you have seen Game of Thrones, I do recommend it. Even though it doesn't end all that great, Most of the show is fantastic, and you will just have a great journey. Just try not to think about the ending and just enjoy the ride, is how I would describe that show. Anyway, moving on. So, Dune Prophecy! Speaking of spin-offs, Dune Prophecy, the TV show that's a spin-off of the Dune movie that's supposed to be about the Bene Gesserit, apparently it's not getting good reviews. It only debuted with a 71% Rotten Tomatoes, and as I said earlier, a lot of the times, like, that debut score is, like, kind of inflated because the first critics that see something usually want to say something positive. So that will probably go down, and I looked at some of the reviews that, like, if people were talking about this show, and basically people were saying that it's okay, but, like, it doesn't match the quality of the movies, which is what I was worried about, because Denis Villeneuve really set the quality bar super high, that I was actually curious to see if a TV show could match that, and it sounds like they didn't. So I'm still excited for it. I'm still going to give it a shot. I'll at least watch the first episode. But it is very disappointing, unfortunately, that it only debuted with a 71%. Anyone actually planning to watch this show? Any Dune heads that are, like, willing to watch a whole Dune spin-off show like me? Anyone giving this show a time? Like, the time of day? Josh says you're intrigued to see how it does in ratings. Me too. I kind of feel like it's not going to do very well. But then again, The Penguin ended up doing kind of well, and I didn't have any interest in that at all, so who knows? Maybe there's an audience for this out there. Anyone gonna watch this? No, Denis is not involved with this. Aaron says this looks boring. Okay. Zendaya's not in this. This is only about the Bene Gesserit, the nun characters. Will's watching it. Okay. So yeah, I guess because none of the movie actors are in this, at least what Penguin had going for it was that Colin Farrell was at least in the Batman. None of the actors from the movies are going to be in the TV show, so it's a completely separate thing, and I think that might hurt its ratings a bit. I feel like a lot of people probably won't tune in because of that. So we'll see. I'm not expecting this to be a huge hit, but I am curious to see how it does. Moving on. Speaking of the Batman, Matt Reeves says Bruce Wayne will be finding it very hard to be Batman for the Batman 2. Batman's out there trying to grapple with the aftermath of everything that happened, which it is, to some degree, he blames himself for. The reason why I included this is because I think this sounds like exactly what went wrong with Joker 2. And I'm surprised that Matt Reeves would repeat the mistakes that Joker 2 just went through. And here's what I mean by this. From what he's describing here, it sounds like the Batman 2 is going to be another, like, woe is me, am I really the Batman? What is the Batman? Let's, like, psychologically analyze Bruce Wayne and his relationship with his duo persona. Like, I feel like this is going in the same direction as Joker 2, where it's like, it's not really about the Batman, it's really more about, like, Arthur and, like, his relationship with this, you know, double persona of Joker. Like, it's more of like a psychological study. And that's exactly what Matt Reeves sounds like he's doing with Batman 2. Does that not sound like what he's doing? Like, he has a very hard time being Batman. Like, he's too, like, traumatized by everything he's been through, so now he's got to, like, reflect on what it means to be Batman. And I'm like, I don't think that's what people like about Batman. Just like they didn't want some reflective Joker, I don't think fans want some reflective Batman. I don't want this movie to just be like a Bruce Wayne sulking the whole time, not wanting to be Batman, because I really think that the audience won't like that, and I think there will be some backlash to it, just like there was backlash with Joker 2. So I think this is a very bad idea. I hope that's not the direction he's taking this in, but I don't know. Would you guys want to see that kind of Batman film? A more of like a moody psychological one and less of an action one, or even like an investigative one? Because the last one was more of like a detective film, right? If this one was more like psychological, would you guys be into that? Is that what you want to see from a Batman movie? AA Gift says it's too brooding for you. Yeah. Vincent says DC is really desperate for a hit right now. I mean, the Batman 2, if done well, could be the hit that DC really needs, but this does not give me the confidence. Evil Connor says, next up, Alfred spin-off story. You know what? I'm surprised they haven't made an Alfred spin-off story. I guess time, it's only... Time will tell. I bet we'll get that eventually. So, Fake Mustache says no. Yeah, it sounds very philosophical, just like Joker 2, which is why I'm like, this, I don't know, I'm getting alarm bells here. I feel like you're repeating the same mistake as Joker 2, but we'll see. That's super, I have to agree. If you want to hear my hot take, I also didn't like the first Batman. The one with Robert Pattinson, and I was actually looking forward to it, kind of, because I like Robert Pattinson. But, like, I thought the movie was boring AF. And I didn't like it at all. So, this is also not for me. So that's why I'm trying to, like, put myself in the mindset of, like, the Joker fans. Because obviously they're probably the same fans as the Batman. And I can see Batman fans not liking this. So, that's why I brought this up. Anyway, moving on. So, Star Wars. Y'all, Star Wars is a hot mess. Star Wars is a hot ghetto mess. So, out of all of the IPs that are going on right now, like the biggest IPs in Hollywood, like we got Marvel, DC, even the other like non-Disney ones like Jurassic World, all the horror franchises, like out of all the franchises that are going on in the industry right now, I really think that Star Wars is doing the worst. Like, dead last on the list of IPs. Like, I really truly think Star Wars could be deader than dead at this point. And it's all Disney's fault. It is all Disney's fault. So you guys know how they like to announce Star Wars movies and then like say never mind? Well, they did it again. They did it again. So if you guys remember, I told you guys a little while ago that they're planning to release 2 Star Wars movies in 2026. The Mando and Grogu movie and then this Rey movie. And it seems like they took one of those movies off the release schedule, and I'm pretty sure it was the Rey movie. I'm pretty sure they're still making that Mando movie, and I think that's a mistake, but let them make that mistake. But anyway, it's been removed from the release calendar, so we don't know if or when this movie will even be made anymore. So what's new? But don't get sad if you were like, I was looking forward to the Rey movie, because apparently, according to anonymous insiders, Rey is considered the most valuable cinematic asset that Lucasfilm has for Star Wars. In some ways, maybe the only one Star Wars has right now. What? What? Apparently she's set to appear in several upcoming Star Wars films. They think she's the most valuable asset. I really want to know, on what planet are these people living on? What universe? What planet? What? Like, I just want to know how the people at Lucasfilm have looked at the past decade of failure after failure, seen what has happened to the brand of Star Wars and how the sequel trilogy played a role in that, and how they came away with the idea, oh, you know what'll save Star Wars? The main character of the Star Wars trilogy that ruined the entire franchise. How did they come to this conclusion? How did they come to this conclusion that Rey is their most valuable asset? Huh? Like, I'm not even a Star Wars fan and I'm confused. How? Like, that is just, talk about completely missing every single lesson you should have learned over the past at least 5 years. Like, are you saying that Rey's the most valuable asset even over the original characters? Like, more than Luke, Han, and Leia? More than Darth Vader? More than Yoda? For real? Rey? I'm really having a hard time wrapping my head around this one. Like, I just want to know why they think Rey is as popular as they think, because there's no evidence in the world that proves that Rey is this popular. She can't sell toys. You know, during Halloween, I feel like Halloween's usually a good indicator of, like, what's still trending in the pop culture zeitgeist. Rey is never, like, a popular Halloween character. You never see anyone walking around with Rey shirts on. Even when you go to Disney World, like, you might see one person dressed as Rey when you go to Galaxy's Edge. But outside of Star Wars land, like, no one is walking around repping Rey. Like, who at Lucasfilm thinks Rey is this popular that she needs to be in several Star Wars films coming up? How did they learn that lesson? Does anyone have any idea? Like, I'm genuinely baffled. Like, I'm genuinely baffled. Can anyone explain this? Anyone? Josh Loves Movie says R2-D2 is the Star Wars mascot. R2-D2 is more relevant and popular than Rey. BB-8 even. Like, what in the world? Vincent says Kathleen Kennedy needs to sit down in the hole right now. She needs to be fired. She needs to be fired. How did they see what happened with the sequel trilogy and they decide, you know what's going to fix this? More Rey. I'm literally baffled by this, okay. I don't see anyone explaining it to me. Oh, Anise, you liked Rey. Okay, there's one person. There's one. If you like Rey, it's okay. I'm obviously not hating on you. I think it's pretty objectively true that she's not the most popular Star Wars character. Not even top 10. So I'm just confused. Miss Player says, I thought they would make Rey into girls or make Finn and Poe in a relationship. Apparently they aren't brave enough for that. Oh, Rey into girls. I was a Reylo. I'm just going to say, I was a Reylo. I wanted to see Rey and Kylo end up together. But even by the last movie, by Rise of Skywalker, I didn't even want them together anymore because they made them, like, all the chemistry that they had in the second movie was gone by the third. So even by the third movie, I was like, I don't even care about Reylo anymore. Like, they made me stop caring. And that was, like, the one thing that I cared about in that franchise, and they killed it. But anyway, I thought this was shocking. I had to share because I was in disbelief. I'm still in disbelief. How did they come to this conclusion? I would like to see their spreadsheet that said, yes, Rey is our most popular character. Anyway, moving on. So a source familiar with the Star Wars movie TV development process has said Star Wars is a nostalgia-based enterprise and they are running out of ways to create a nostalgia. In other news, water is wet. So, yes, at this point, at least I'm glad that there's people, like, within Lucasfilm who are aware that Star Wars is basically just selling nostalgia at this point because they haven't been selling a good story in years. But I think it's really sad that they can only rely on nostalgia. And they definitely are running out of ways to create that nostalgia. I feel like they have literally explained the origins behind every conceivable thing possible from the original trilogy. I felt that it started getting ridiculous when we watched that Han Solo movie, like the spin-off Han Solo movie. I thought that movie was ridiculous because they were literally explaining the origin behind his last name. And it's like, did we get to this point? Like, how did we get to this point where, like, now we need an origin story showing how the Kessel Run happened? Like, I thought that was ridiculous. So now I'm like, you really have run out of, like, places to go. They even brought back freaking Hayden Christensen. They brought back Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor and had them fight it out. And it wasn't even, like, the top 2 most talked about shows that were airing at that same time. Like, that's how much Star Wars has fallen off. That's just really, really sad. Josh says, that's because you killed off most of your famous characters. And they think Rey is apparently their most famous character left, which is so insane. Yes, Lucasfilm needs new franchises, that's true. I've told you guys repeatedly that I think they need to just reboot Star Wars. At this point, I think they've muddied up the timeline from Star Wars so much that I think they need to just go back to like episode 1, 2, and 3 again. Well, technically 4, 5, and 6. And just like have a new Han, Luke, and Leia. Like, I really do think that they just need to start over with like new actors and try a whole new story. Because they have nowhere left to go within the current like universe that they set up for themselves. They have nowhere left to go. And I don't think the Acolyte helped. I don't think that Ahsoka helped. I think all of these things are just like retreading ground that we've already got over. And I think they're really running out of like ground to cover. I really think they gotta just reboot and start over. I think that is the best thing Star Wars could do at this point. Oh, audio is bad? Oh, okay, it's good now? Alright. Please let me know if there's an issue with... I'm gonna have to figure out what this noise is, because like I can't hear it at all, but you guys keep bringing it up. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. I deeply apologize for that, though. But anyway. So we did get a new teaser for Andor Season 2. I did not... Sorry. I know a lot of people really love Andor. I know like this has really great reviews, or at least the first season did. I thought it was boring. I couldn't finish the first season. I really tried. Like, I really, really tried. Like, I wanted to like that show. I wanted to like it because so many people were raving about it. But it just could not keep my interest. But I know a lot of people love it, so if you're into Andor Season 2, there's a new teaser out. It does come out April 22nd, which is quite far away. But yeah, I mean, this is like the one thing in Star Wars that people actually seem to like recently. So we'll see how this goes. Let's see if Season 2 is as well liked as the first season. But yeah, this is like the one positive thing I think Star Wars has going for them at the moment. And even then, it's not like the show has like good ratings. Like, it was one of the least viewed Star Wars shows. So yeah, I really think Star Wars is in a bad place overall. Like, horribly bad. Horribly bad. But yeah, what do you guys think? Are you guys looking forward to Andor? Who actually watched this show? Mauricio says, watch it. I did watch it. I swear I got through like almost half the first season, and that was a chore for me. Like, I really thought that show was boring as all hell. Like, I did not understand why people liked it so much, but I know a lot of people liked it, so I'm not trying to hate on it too much. Josh Loves Movie says the Andor writers are making the Dawn of the Jedi movie, but is that movie actually getting made, Josh? Do we know? Are we sure? It's not going to get canceled? Are we sure? Anise says this is the best Star Wars show. Okay. People do say the show starts off slow. Maybe I just didn't watch far enough. But anyway, not everyone has seen it, so let's move on. There is a first look of the new How to Train Your Dragon movie coming up, the live-action movie. Apparently they have dialed up the stakes and have a fully incredible photoreal dragon stomping around trying to kill him. So that's interesting. I actually think this movie could be a surprise hit. I know a lot of people were complaining about this picture. A lot of people said the lighting wasn't very good. I do think the lighting is very flat. I think in general, like, the lighting in a lot of Hollywood movies, including Wicked, have just been, like, off. And I can't even, like, quite put my finger on what it is, but I do agree the lighting is quite flat. But, lighting aside, I actually like that they built a real set, it looks, at least. I like, what's his name? The character here. I think he looks just like the animated version. And I think this movie actually has potential to be a hit, just because the original animated film and the original trilogy in general is very, very popular. I remember when the first How to Train Your Dragon movie came out, and like everyone in my school was obsessed with that movie. Like, it was a big deal. So I really do think that like there is an audience for this film, and I do think that fans will show up for it. But I do wonder if it can match the charm and creativity of the animated film, because I do think that like just visually it's not as interesting looking just with this shot, but I still think that there's faith. I still think that there's hope that this movie could be good. I I'm hoping that this movie will be good, at least. Fingers crossed. And I think it has potential to be a hit. I really do think that there's an audience for this movie. Are you guys looking forward to it or no? 88 Gift says, where's the color? Yeah, like I said, maybe it's not the lighting, maybe it's the color grading, or maybe it's both. I don't know. I really do feel like Hollywood in general is having an issue with like a lot of their movies just like visually don't look that good. And yeah, just this is only one photo to be fair, but like this one photo, yeah, I hope the whole movie doesn't look like this. Potato Girl says pass. I'm good. Fake Mustache says, why is DreamWorks going the Disney way? Well, because Disney makes a lot of money with their live action movies, so I think it makes sense why they wanted to do this. But I do wonder if this is successful, will it cause DreamWorks to want to do other live action remakes? But then I thought about all the DreamWorks movies, and I really think they have a unique problem where too many of their movies star like animals and fictional creatures. Like, imagine a live action Shrek. Like, I don't think you can do a live action Shrek. That would be horrific. Or a live action Puss in Boots. So I actually don't think that they're going to do a ton of live action remakes just because I don't think they have enough movies where they can do that. But with How to Train Your Dragon, obviously this is actually with humans, so they can do that. So I don't think DreamWorks is going to totally go the live action route, but who knows? Maybe we will get a live action Shrek. Dylan says, I'm not a fan of all the color grading. Yeah, the color grading's not great. I really don't think they're going to make a live action Shrek, guys. That was just an example. Vincent says, I would like to see a live action reboot of The Road to El Dorado for the gay representation. I do like Road to El Dorado. DreamWorks does have some good movies. I think a lot of their older movies are better than the newer ones. You know what DreamWorks movie I want them to do a live action remake of? What's the religious one? You guys know what I'm talking about. The Jesus movie. What is it? It's really, really good. I love that movie. That's probably my favorite DreamWorks movie. I think if they did that in live action, I think that would do very well. I mean, obviously they'd have to make sure it's like accurate to the Bible, but I think if they just made it, Prince of Egypt, thank you. I think if they just made it accurate to the animated movie, I think people would still be happy with it because people love the animated movie. And I mean, the Prince of Egypt has like everyone that likes it. Do you know how hard it is to make a religious film that like everyone can get on board with? Like, that's how good that movie is. They didn't even get like people upset with it. They should do a live action Prince of Egypt. That's what they should definitely do. I'm all for that. But who knows? I bet they'll probably be too worried about it, but we'll see. Moving on. Oh no! The audio. I think I'm gonna have to get a new webcam / mic because I literally don't know how to fix this, so I think I'm just gonna have to get a new webcam. I'm really sorry, guys. I hope it stops. Please let me know when it stops. Moving on. So, Godzilla -1 director, apparently he is going to work on something that's not Gladiator. He said, oh, not Gladiator, oh my god, not Gladiator. Godzilla! I don't know why I was drawing a blank on that. So he's working on the next Godzilla movie, but he's also directing his first English language film called Grand Gear for Sony. Apparently J.J. Abrams is producing the film, and it is going to theaters. So that's exciting. I'm glad that Hollywood has decided to embrace him. I'm glad that Hollywood in general saw Godzilla -1 and was like, oh my god, we need more directors like him. Because I truly believe he's that talented. I really think Godzilla -1 is like a uniquely special movie. I think it's really that good. So I'm glad that he's getting all this work, but I don't know. I remember, if you guys remember, just like last week, they were saying that he had talked to Kevin Feige at Marvel. So I don't know, is he also going to work on something at Marvel too? Like, the dude is booked and busy for real. I hope it doesn't like lower the quality on his movies, but I don't know. I'm going to see anything he makes because I really enjoyed that movie a lot. So I'm just happy that he's getting a lot of work, and I hope he continues to get stuff. I hope he continues to get work because I think he's really good. Moving on. We did get a new teaser for Peacemaker Season 2. I kind of think this won't get a lot of views. I think the ratings are probably going to be pretty bad on this. And the reason why I think that is because nothing DC has been putting out recently has been a success. Not even Joker 2 could be a success. And it's been so long since Peacemaker Season 1 that I feel like people who actually watched that first season probably lost interest. So, I don't know. Are you guys actually planning to watch Peacemaker Season 2? I kind of feel like this is going to flop. Just because everything else DC has been putting out has been flopping. Like, the interest in DC is a record low. I think the only other franchise that's doing worse than DC at the moment is Star Wars. But are you guys looking forward to it? Maybe that's just me. Anyone interested in Peacemaker? Yeah, like Aaron just said, it's been a while since Season 1. Exactly. It's been so long. Like, I feel like the interest in this show is just gone. Alexander says, nope. Evil Connor doesn't like John Cena. That doesn't surprise me at all. Josh says, I'm intrigued to see how Peacemaker Season 2 is connected to Superman. Are they connecting this to Superman? Because that would be a huge mistake. I hope they're not, actually, because I feel like that's where Marvel went wrong. As soon as they tried to make all these TV shows and have them connect to the movies, that's when the general public went, whoa, this is too much homework for me. I'm out. So I really hope that they don't do that. I really hope that Peacemaker isn't tied to Superman at all. Because I think that would be really bad for DC overall. But, like, can DC get worse? I mean, I guess it can. It could be Star Wars. But I don't want it to get to Star Wars level. Un Poco Loco says, John Cena is at least a better actor than The Rock. I think they're comparable. I think they're on the same level. I don't think John Cena is, like, all that amazing, to be honest. Factual opinion sense, I'm watching it, but I'm not looking forward to it. Okay, interesting. Leo Galaxy says, if Peacemaker is gay, then I'll watch it. Okay. You guys are really funny. Moving on to the next topic. I told you guys we had a lot to talk about, so I appreciate you guys all being here for this long. So we do have our first synopsis for the Fantastic Four. Set against the vibrant backdrop of a 1960s-inspired retro-futuristic world, forced to balance their roles as heroes with the strength of their family bond, the Fantastic Four must defeat Earth from a ravenous space god called Galactus and his enigmatic herald Silver Surfer. And if Galactus' plan to devour the entire planet and everyone on it weren't bad enough, it suddenly gets very personal. So it's just basically the Fantastic Four against Galactus and Silver Surfer. Like I said, I watched the sizzle reel of the movie from like the D23 convention like a couple months ago. It's not on the internet, they took it down. But I did get to see it before it was taken down, and I had like zero opinion about this movie. Honestly, like I wasn't even sure if I was that excited about it. But then when I saw the sizzle reel, it suddenly got me very excited. It looks very hyper stylized. They're going like super 1960s retro futuristic. It kind of reminds me of WandaVision a bit. Like the 60s set or even the 50s set too. And just how it's like all like super highly stylized. It's in that sort of vein. I feel like this movie could actually be very good. Or at least it might appeal to me. I don't know if it'll be good, but I feel like this is the kind of movie that I would be interested in. It seems like they're trying to make it not just like a generic a generic superhero film. It seems like they're really trying to go for like something very hyper stylized that kind of sets it apart, and I'm really here for it. Once there's a trailer for it, maybe you guys will finally understand why I suddenly got excited for this movie, because the sizzle reel was that good to me. But I am actually looking forward to this movie. I think it could be good. Anyone, are you guys excited for Fantastic Four? How are you feeling about this movie? Yeah, Silver Surfer will be played by a woman this time. Pedro Pascal is overexposed. Yeah, he is in everything. He needs to take a break after this year, or he's going to become like The Rock. Evil Connor says, I do love the style of the cat. Oh, you do love the style, but the casting is so off. Johnny isn't even hot. I actually really like the guy that plays Johnny. I do think he's attractive. He looks like a young Robert Downey Jr. Like, I don't understand why everyone thinks he's ugly. I don't think so. I thought he was cute in Stranger Things too. I don't know. I don't agree. I think he's attractive. Yes, it's very kitschy, AA Gifts. That's a good way of describing it. Like, the movie looks very kitschy from what I've seen. Okay, I'm seeing some more excitement for this movie than some of the others. So at least I think there's potential for this movie to be a hit. I really do. So let's keep going because I don't want this show to go on for too long. So apparently there was a whole other plot for Deadpool and Wolverine that involved Deadpool appearing in various MCU films. According to Ryan Reynolds, it would show that he was in the MCU the whole time. You just didn't see his scenes because they were all on the cutting room floor. You know what? This is actually what I thought Deadpool was going to be. I thought Deadpool and Wolverine was going to be like, kind of like how Endgame was, where they would travel into all the different Marvel movies at different times, and you would just see like basically the same movie again, but from like Deadpool's perspective. That's what I thought this movie was going to be, honestly. So I was a little surprised when that's not what the movie is. And as you guys know, I didn't love Deadpool and Wolverine, so this plot kind of sounds better to me in my opinion, but I mean, I'm probably wrong because obviously the movie was super, super successful and everyone loved it but me, so clearly, you know, they made the right choice, but I kind of would have preferred this plot, to be honest. I think this just sounds more interesting, at least for me. And it sounds more like, less, like, world building? Like, not world building, but world breaking. That's why I didn't really like Deadpool and Wolverine. I just felt like it broke too much of the lore of the MCU, or like, broke too much of the reality, that I just couldn't like believe anything anymore because it just felt like anything could happen, and now I just kind of lost interest. I don't know. I feel like this would have been more interesting, but maybe I'm wrong because obviously Deadpool and Wolverine was very successful. Would you guys have wanted to see this instead of what we got, or are you happy with what we got? That Super says you thought the movie was dumb. But I know a lot of you love it, so I'm not going to say anything bad. AA Gift says at least do an outtakes reel or something. I don't think they can. Oh, Alexander, you thought it was cringe? I thought it was too. Honestly, if you guys were... Okay, when I reviewed Deadpool and Wolverine, it was so soon after the movie, and it was opening weekend. And so I didn't really want to be like too harsh about the movie because I know a lot of people were really excited about it and you guys really liked it. But I gotta be real with you, like, since the movie has come out and like I've had a lot of time to sit with it, I think that my opinion of the movie has gone down considerably. I actually don't think I liked it that much. In fact, when I was watching the first act, even the first act, I was sitting in the theater like, when does this get good? Like, I was just like, wait, what if I don't like this movie? Because I didn't like it in the beginning, and then it just never got better for me, and I was just like, oh no, I don't like the movie. But yeah, I kind of agree with some of you who didn't like it, but I know most of you did, so it's fine. Oh, Fake Mustache, you also didn't like it? Oh, wait, maybe my audience also didn't like it. That's interesting. Evil Connor says the advertising itself is cringe. It looked like it's for 13-year-old boys who are excited to hear cursing for the first time. Maybe I just wasn't the target audience for the movie. Because I feel like... I don't know. I feel like that Deadpool and Wolverine was very much geared more towards a male audience. And maybe that's just like why I was not interested in it. I don't know. Were there any women who liked the movie? I'm really, really curious. Oh, thank you, Prototype. Anise liked it. Okay. Yeah, they did downplay his bisexuality. That's true. 80-year audience? What does that mean? I mean, edgier audience? I don't even think the movie was that edgy. Like, I feel like this movie was like baby's first edgy movie. But now I'm just starting to like drag this movie, so maybe I should move on. Anyway, so there was a little bit of a teaser where Disney wanted to like advertise a bunch of their TV shows coming out. So they teased Daredevil Born Again, which I do think could be very successful. The last couple of seasons on Netflix were very well liked and successful, so I do hope that people show up for the Daredevil Born Again, but we'll see. They showed a bit of Ironheart, Andor Season 2, Chad Powers. What the hell is Chad Powers? And The Bear Season 4. Oh my god, The Bear. You know what? Why can't more shows be like The Bear? The Bear comes out like every freaking year. You know, there isn't long breaks between seasons like there are with every other show. I really don't know why more shows can't be like this. But anyway, they also showed some Goosebumps, Alien Earth, lots of stuff they have coming up. I'm not sure how much of it will be like super successful. Like, I'm still a little iffy on Ironheart. Here's what's his name as the Hood? Forgot his name, the actor. I don't know, but here's Ironheart. Here's Daredevil. I do like how Daredevil looks. I think it looks a lot like the Netflix show, so that's promising. Chad Powers is some sports movie. Oh, I'm not into that. Oh, but it's got, is that, that's not, what's his name, Powell? That's not him. Oh, it is. It's that Powell dude that's in everything now. I like him, but I don't really care for sports movies. There's Andor, Handmaid's Tale. I can't believe Handmaid's Tale is still going. How is that show still going? How has she not made it to Canada? Does she not have her daughter yet? Like, I stopped watching Handmaid's Tale a few years ago when, like, she almost made it to Canada, but then she turned around because she wanted to get her daughter. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. But, like, has she still not got her daughter yet? Like, why is she still in America? But anyway, if you watch Handmaid's Tale, then you know what I'm talking about. Percy Jackson. So they have a lot of good TV shows coming out. Like, I do think some of these will be big hits, but yeah, I'm not sure about all of these. Like, I'm pretty sure Percy Jackson actually didn't get that, like, good of a ratings for season 1, so I'm surprised it got a season 2. But anyway, are you guys interested in any of these shows coming up? Anthony Ramos, that's the name, right? Oh, I didn't know that, Evil Connor. Interesting. Oh, I have another super chat. Thank you so much, Factual Opinion. The new DCU begins with Creature Commando, Superman, and Peacemaker Season 2. Thoughts on James Gunn starting the new cinematic universe in this order? Dumb as fuck. If you want to know my actual opinion, Factual Opinion, I think that's so stupid. Why on earth would you start, knowing how, like, badly DC's doing right now as a brand, why would you start a whole cinematic universe with Creature Commandos? An animated series full of Z-list superhero characters that no one outside of the biggest comic book nerds have heard of. Why? Just why? I think that's a really bad idea. And then for Peacemaker to be right after Superman, I also think that's really dumb. Because as I explained earlier, I don't understand why they would want to copy Marvel and have all these TV shows and movies connect to each other when Marvel proved that really can't be done. So I think it's a really bad idea, and I think Superman's going to have to knock it out of the park and be like $1 billion hit for this entire DCU, not to be a disaster from the beginning. I really do think the stakes are that high, so I hope James Gunn knocks it out of the park with that movie. Yes. You guys come here for my honesty. That's my honesty. Alexander says, I was a senior in high school when I watched season 1 of Handmaid's Tale. Yeah, I think I was like early on in college when I was watching Handmaid's Tale. Like, this show has been on for a minute now. Glenn Powell, that's his name. Alright, let's moving on. So, the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight. The reason why I'm bringing this up at all is because it got 65 million concurrent viewers on Netflix. That is one of the most watched events of 2024. And the reason I find this so significant is because look at all the shows and movies that we've talked about so far on this show. Do you think that most of these, if any of them, could actually beat 65 million viewers? I don't think so. And I think that just shows you, going back to the whole theme of like Hollywood's relevancy really falling off, when something like a fight between a YouTuber and Mike Tyson can get 65 million views, but like something like The Penguin or some of these prestige shows are struggling to crack like a couple million views. Like, this just shows you that people's attention for entertainment are really going to other places right now, like that aren't specifically like Hollywood made products like movies and TV shows. A couple years ago, the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, David Zaslav, made a comment that had a lot of people really upset. I don't know if it was a comment or if it was rumors about something that he wanted to do. But I remember there was something about like he wanted to focus more on unscripted stuff for like streaming. And a lot of people were really upset because they were like, how dare you want to focus on reality television? How dare you not want to like make all these, you know, scripted TV shows and movies? But like, think about it. Reality television is so cheap to produce, and it can get results like this. YouTubers, okay? YouTubers who have like no budget get more views than scripted series on HBO. You know? Like, as much as like I understand from like an artist perspective, it's horrible to hear like you know, a major studio executive wanting to focus more on like reality unscripted stuff than scripted. I understand the need to want to clutch your pearls at that. I do. But at the same time, look at the results. Just look at the results. Look at how popular YouTube is. Look at how popular TikTok is. Look at the views some of this stuff is getting that's unscripted. I really do feel like a lot of what the general public is like watching right now is just unscripted entertainment. Whether it's social media videos, whether it's YouTube videos, whether it's podcasts. I mean, podcasts are everywhere. Hell, you're watching a podcast. Like, even I've got a podcast. Like, I really do feel like, for whatever reason, the culture right now is really more into unscripted stuff than the scripted. And this really just proves it. 65 million views. I mean, there are shows, like, The Rings of Power cost $1 billion, right? And they don't even get a tenth of that, you know? Like, this, for the amount of money they spent on The Rings of Power, I'm sure this was the kind of viewership they were hoping for. And they didn't even get close. Not even, like, remotely close. That just kind of shows you where, like, I think people's attention are right now. I mean, what are you guys watching when you have free time? Are you watching scripted stuff? Are you gravitating more towards the like scripted TV shows and the movies? Or are you scrolling through social media? Are you listening to podcasts? Are you watching, you know, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight? Like, what are you watching? I want to know. Vincent says, I don't use TikTok. The social media is addictive. Yeah, social media is very addictive. I mean, I know personally I could find myself, this is bad, but I can find myself like scrolling on social media for a couple hours before I'm like, okay, I should probably stop. It's very addictive. A wise MF said, exactly, at the end of the day, they're going to do what makes them the most money. People can be mad all they want, but we live in reality, not an ideal, all-righteous version of reality. Fully agree. Fully agree. Alexander says, you watch TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. Yep, so that's a lot of unscripted. Andrea watches YouTube. Factual Opinion loves scripted TV, so there's still some scripted fans out there. Fake Mustache watches the scripted stuff. Okay. The Art of Treble says people want things that feel more real. I think that's part of it. I do think that's part of it. I do feel like we live in such like a... I think people really want authenticity more than anything nowadays. And I think that authenticity obviously feels more authentic when it's, you know, a reality rather than scripted. So maybe that's part of it. But I really do think it's interesting how like how popular unscripted stuff is becoming. It really is rivaling the scripted stuff now. Even Josh loves your reality competition shows. So yeah, I think reality really is becoming like the popular thing that people want to watch right now. So I think that's very interesting. But anyway, moving on. So let's talk about the Rachel Zegler thing. So what happened here? Rachel Zegler decided to go on Instagram and she made this really, really long post. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But basically the summary of her post here was F all Trump supporters, F Donald Trump. I hope anyone who voted for Trump never knows a day of peace. It was literally a very, very I hate you all, fuck you, I can't believe you voted for this man, F anyone who voted for him. It was very, very much not a nice post towards Trump supporters in the slightest. We know Rachel Zegler is very, very liberal. She's very, very left-leaning, so that's not surprising. But the fact that she went on Instagram, on social media, to basically cuss out Trump supporters, I don't think is a good business decision. And here's why. She can say what she likes. Yes, we still have free speech in this country, but you have to understand that she's attached to some very big movies, some very big franchises. Snow White is literally one of Disney's biggest franchises. It started their entire animation division. Snow White is not some small little thing. That's their OG princess. And we're in the middle of a heated culture war. A culture war that I feel like last Tuesday, or I guess now 2 weeks ago, on election day, I feel like the American people honestly kind of spoke and said, we're kind of tired of a lot of this, I think, I don't want to get too much into what happened with the election. I want to keep it on entertainment. But I do feel like the fact that the country went so red, and it wasn't just one area, it was literally the whole country kind of shifted at least to the right, or at least to the center. I think that kind of shows that people are getting a little tired of liberals, essentially, or at least it's due to a myriad of things that I'm not going to go into, but it does show that the country is shifting right. That's what I'm trying to say. So for her to get on social media and say, oh, F every Trump supporter, I hope you all know peace, even though Donald Trump did win the popular vote. That's not a good, smart business decision if you want to be a popular actress who gets big leading roles and big leading franchises, because you're still very much the face of these big franchises. Disney obviously does not want the lead of their big franchise movie to say that they hate half of America, because that's not going to encourage half of America to want to go see your movie. And the Snow White movie is extremely expensive. Now, obviously, Disney was probably not very happy with her post. They made, okay, I don't know that they made her apologize, but I'm going to speculate that they probably most likely made her apologize, because she apologized pretty quickly. In her new apology, she said that she firmly believes that everyone has the right to their opinion, even when it differs from their own. I'm committed to contributing positively toward a better tomorrow. Basically, she's just like, I'm sorry, I got the best of my emotions, my bad. But again, I really do think Disney most likely made her put out this statement, because if you want to be the star of a major franchise that's supposed to be like $1 billion hit, I mean, Snow White at this point, because they've reshot it so many times, is the last number that I saw for Snow White, I don't know if this is accurate, I'm gonna double check, but I saw that the number was actually north of 400 million. The movie's getting stupidly expensive because of how much they've had to reshoot at this point. You need that movie to be a massive hit, which means you need this movie to have wide, massive appeal. If you say you hate half the country, you're saying you don't want half of your potential audience to show up and support your movie. That's just bad business sense. That's bad professionalism. It's bad for your career. It makes other studios not want to work with you because they think you're a loose cannon and they can't predict what you're going to say. And she's so young and so talented that I think if she just kept her mouth shut, I really think she could have had a long-lasting career. But after this, and obviously I think Snow White's going to be a disaster. I think it's going to be a massive flop. I mean, she's making sure of it. I could be wrong, but I'd be shocked if this movie was a hit at this point. No studio is going to want to touch her. No studio is going to want to work with her because she is pissed off possibly a majority of the country. So this was just not a good idea on her end. This was not smart. I really think that, like, she needs some PR training. I don't even think PR training is enough. I think she needs, like, a reality check. I think she needs to step out of her tight bubble where she's clearly in an echo chamber. And, like, just maybe touch some grass and, like, talk to some other people that she doesn't agree with 100%. I really think that would be good for her. But it might be too late to save her image. I don't know. What do you guys feel about this, though? Because I know this is all very controversial. I know a lot of you might disagree, but how do you feel about her comments? Do you feel like she shouldn't have had to apologize? Do you feel like Disney definitely made her apologize? I do. Do you feel like she had every right to say what she said? How do you feel? Evil Connor, you love her. I thought you didn't like Rachel, Evil Connor. Vincent says Rachel needs to be gone. JCB says, why is Disney so afraid of politics? Well, have you seen what politics has done to their company? If you guys haven't been, like, fully been paying attention, Disney has been caught in the middle of a culture war for the past few years now. It started, actually, not with Bob Iger, but with Bob Chapek, when he got into a war with Florida over Disney World. It all started there. Well, I mean, some would argue it started before then, but I really do feel like that was the catalyst. Because ever since then, Disney can just, they've been in, like, political controversy after political controversy. Conservatives, they can't stop shit-talking every Disney movie that comes out just because they hate Disney so much now for being so, you know, liberal. I really do feel like, not feel like, I think it's just true that Disney has put themselves at a disadvantage by going so political in some of their earlier movies. And now I think they are trying to course correct, but I think it's going to take a few years for that to happen. And I don't know, like, with this new Trump, you know, presidency and where the country is right now, I don't know if, like, they'll really be able to turn things around totally. But we'll see. What do you guys think? Pretty Princess says she's isolating too many people. With the money riding on her, she needs to stop calling people out. Yeah, she just needs to know when to speak. Like, there's a time and place to, like, voice your frustration. And, like, it's not on Instagram being like, I hate you all. Like, it's just, it's honestly childish. Like, I know she's young, but, like, she's still, like, in her 20s. She's not that young. She should know better. Oh, it's Jenna Ortega you don't like. That's right. Okay. Straight Studio says, Snow White is a very kind and humble person. Hard to picture Rachel as that. That's true. I do think she's miscast generally, just because I don't think she has the Disney princess temperament at all. So it'll be interesting to see how she, like, tries to play off being very naive and innocent, especially since Snow White is supposed to be the image of naivety and innocence, and nothing about Rachel Zegler screams that to me. So I don't know how she's going to pull that off. That's a good point. JCP says Disney also banned a Moon Girl episode. Oh, that's true. That's true. They banned an episode about a transgender girl in sports. Apparently the whole episode was about, like, trans girls in sports. And that obviously is also a very controversial topic, especially given, if you actually look at, like, what the polls say about what happened on the election day, apparently a good number of people voted for Trump just because of the trans sports issue specifically. So I can see why Disney would want to pull that episode as well. Again, I'm just thinking of this from, like, a business perspective. I'm thinking if you want to appeal to the most amount of people, it's probably not a good idea to be so obviously partisan towards one side of the political spectrum. That's all I'm saying. And I think Disney is working to go back more towards center, but I think it's going to be hard for them because I think they've been so left-leaning for so long that I think it's going to take us several years to like try to undo what they've been doing. I haven't seen too many people being like, "Oh, Brittany, how dare you?" I'm very shocked. Oh, Evil Connor says, I have a theory that people just like Jenna because she's pretty. Yeah, I think that's true. I told you Jenna's that one actress that just rubs me the wrong way, and I don't even know why. You know what? I think I know why Jenna Ortega rubs me the wrong way. I know this is a side comment, but, you know, Evil Connor made me think of it. I think it all started after, like, her, like, dance in Wednesday blew up, and Jenna Ortega still to this day acts like she's too good to reenact that dance. And, like, she acts like she can't believe that people like that dance. Like, I think that's why she rubbed me the wrong way. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I think it's... She gives me the feeling that she thinks she's, like, too good for most things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's very full of herself. I kind of see Rachel Zegler and Jenna Ortega as very similar people. I just think Jenna is smarter with her public comments than Rachel Zegler is, but I think they both have a very, like, up their own ass attitude, in my opinion. My own personal opinion. Okay, Alexander really likes Jenna. I'm sorry. I won't say anything about Jenna. Evil Connor says, nah, Rachel seems chill, low-key. She's just real and has no PR training at all whatsoever. Actually, you guys, I told you guys that I like reading celebrity gossip lines. Again, this is all rumor. I don't know if this is true. I just read from the lines. But apparently, I've read a couple of lines about Rachel that she's like a diva behind the scenes and is not a nice person. So, I don't know if she's as chill as she claims to be or seems like Evil Connor. But who knows? Maybe those rumors aren't true. Roxy Bell 4 says, Brittany, it doesn't matter who becomes president. It's important for LGBT people to be represented. I'm not saying they shouldn't be represented. And trans people don't even get that much representation anyway. I disagree. I do. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't be represented. In fact, as I just pointed out, there was tons of representation on Agatha. And I thought that representation was actually done very well. Arcane! Another example, really great representation. I just don't think that you need to put it everywhere all the time, any place, anywhere, 100%, or else you're a bigot if you don't like it. No one likes when it feels like you're trying to push something on them, even if you agree with them. That's what I'm saying. Okay, a couple of you believe it. But anyway, I think that's... I'm glad that she apologized. I think Disney definitely forced her to do it, but I do think that if she continues making comments like this, I don't see her getting any lead roles in, like, the next few years. That's just the reality of it. Alright, moving on. So, speaking of... well, I'll try to be respectful. So, there's a trailer for Mary, which is a coming-of-age biblical story about Mary's conception of Jesus. I did tell you guys a few weeks ago that Hollywood is trying to appeal more towards a conservative audience by making more faith-based stuff. And this is another example of that. There's this whole, like, Jesus cinematic universe, I guess they're trying to start. Here's the Mary spinoff. I actually think this trailer looks very good. So good that I'm actually curious enough that I think I might actually try to watch this. I don't know. I think it looks very cinematic. I love Prince of Egypt, so if it's anywhere like half as good as that, it might be good. I just think it looks very... like, it looks cinematic. Like, it looks like an epic. And I love epics. So, I'm actually very interested in this. I don't know. I think the costumes look great. I think the set looks great. I'm very, very interested in this movie, actually. And I think if they do more faith-based stuff and more, like, Bible stories, I think going this cinematic, heightened, epic direction is the way to go. Because it doesn't look cheap. It doesn't look like just some TV movie. This looks like the real deal. And I think, hopefully, people will like it. But who knows? Because, you know, people will be very specific about these stories. So, you never know. But, like, I think it looks promising. Would you guys be willing to watch a Mary movie? Are you guys interested in this at all? Some say you're gonna watch it. Some think it looks boring. I know the Bible actually has some really cool stories that I would like to be, like, shown to film. So I'm looking forward to more Bible stories, actually. Like I said, I want the Book of Revelations in a TV series. I think that could be really exciting and interesting. Okay, I'm seeing mostly people are interested. Miss Player says, I want to see God falling in love with Mary and they have Jesus. I don't know if that's going to be in this. I think that's pretty much starting from Immaculate Conception, but I don't know. Oh, Evil Connor, you want more Shakespeare adaptations? I don't know. I mean, I feel like we've had plenty of Shakespeare adaptations, but we haven't had many Bible adaptations for, you know, obvious reasons. But if Hollywood's finally going to, like, take the risk to tell more Bible stories, I actually would be interested in that. I think that'd be interesting. Okay, so I'm seeing some interest here, so that's interesting. Live action Veggie Tales. You guys are so funny. Moving on. So, speaking of, like, change happening in the industry, as I've been saying, sounds like that you're definitely keeping Bond a man. So, Bond producer Barbara Broccoli said that they are looking for a male in their 30s for the next James Bond, although they are open of Bond being a person of color, which I think is fine. I think the only thing that needs to stay the same about Bond is that he needs to be a man. Bond was written to be a man. If you make Bond a woman, that not just completely changes the character, but that completely changes the entire franchise. Bond was written to be, like, the stereotype of, like, a suave, sophisticated womanizer who can do no wrong. He's supposed to be, like, the ideal alpha type. Like, that's who Bond is. If you take that away from the character, you're changing the character fundamentally. So I'm glad that they're not entertaining this female Bond nonsense. I'm okay with him being a person of color or something like that. That's totally fine. I just think that he definitely needed to be a man, because it just wouldn't make sense if he wasn't. So I think this is a step in the right direction. Again, like I said, I do think the industry is trying to move away from being so far left, but it's going to take time. It's going to take time. What do you guys think? Did you guys want to see a female Bond? Because there was some talk about it. That's why I'm bringing it up. Would you have wanted to see that, or are you happy about it being a male Bond? And who would you want to see play Bond? Okay, Vincent, you said you don't want to see gender swap or race swap. Okay. Yeah, if you want a female Bond, just make a whole new franchise, like Salt, as you had mentioned. Like, just don't try to, like, co-opt another character. Oh, did you guys see Prancer? Was he here? I was completely not paying attention. I know, right? The name, random hiccup. You're so funny. Du Bois says, I'd be cool with it also. Maybe his backstory could be he came from a British colony originally. I'd be open to that if they work on his backstory. Yeah, I'd love to see more of his backstory. That'd be interesting. Evil Connor really wants him to be closeted gay. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I know that's what you want. Du Bois says, back in the 2000s, if we were to get a POC Bond, I would have said Idris Elba, but I think he's too old for it now. Yeah, he's definitely too old. I mean, there's, like, Chiwetel Ejiofor, but I think he's probably also too old. Yeah, I don't know who would be Bond. I think they're considering the guy that's going to play Kraven the Hunter. They're considering him to be Bond. And I don't think he's a good fit, but I mean, apparently he's like the #1 choice right now. But yeah, Kit Harington. That's a good idea. I like Kit Harington. Oh, I think he's a good choice. Yes, they should cast Kit Harington. I like that one. He's now my #1 choice. Kit Harington should definitely be trying to get this role. I know Tom Holland was trying. Poor Tom Holland. He wanted to be Bond. That's so cute. I'm sorry. I love Tom. I love Tom so much. But Tom Holland is not Bond. He's just not. But anyway, Aaron Taylor Johnson. That's right. Thank you. Anyway, moving on. So, speaking of the election and everything, so you know how The Boys is supposed to be a satire of real life and, you know, all of that. And if you watch the end of The Boys, the last season, you know, Homelander's basically go into the White House now. He's now mixed in with the government. So I'm really curious to see how they handle that with, you know, recent news and stuff. That's going to be a very interesting season for sure. In fact, The Boys are already satirizing real life by making fun of Elon Musk. Apparently they made a parody post about Elon Musk when he was announced to be the head of the Department of Government Efficiency. They said, Vought is proud to announce Deep as the head of a newly formed agency, the Department of Preserving Earth, or DOPE. In this role, he'll work closely with his best friend Homelander to make our oceans a little more super. Yeah, they're already having a lot of fun with this, so I think the next season of The Boys is going to be really, really fun. I hope that they can keep it to where, like, everyone can enjoy it and it doesn't become just, like, so left-leaning again. I think what makes The Boys so good is that, like, everyone can kind of like it. So I hope they don't lose sight of that, but I do think this is very funny. I think this is very funny. So I think they're gonna have a lot of material to work with on the next season of The Boys for sure. Now, last thing, we finally have a host for the 97th Oscars. I've been telling you they've been trying to figure out who the hell's gonna host the Oscars for a long time, but they finally figured it out. It's gonna be Conan O'Brien, and the ceremony will take place March 2nd. Now, Conan's an interesting choice. I feel like he hasn't been relevant for a minute. So it's interesting that they chose him. I do think he's funny. So that's good. I do also think he will make fun of the people in the audience. I don't think he'll be afraid to do that. So maybe we won't get another, like, Jimmy Kimmel type of monologue where he's just so nice he doesn't want to make fun of anyone. I really don't want that. But I think Conan could be a good choice. Who knows? Are you guys interested in Conan as host? Do you think there could have been a better choice? What do you think? Ethereal Dragon's not impressed. Some of you are very happy, though. Not my cup of tea, says Cheetah Viper. Rock, paper, scissors, also not impressed. You wanted Jimmy Fallon? You guys are really not interested. Evil Connor says, meh. We'll see. I just hope that he's not too nice. I feel like the issue with Jimmy Kimmel is he's been too nice. I think I want someone that's more like Ricky Gervais that'll be, like, kind of making fun of everyone. I think people at home would like that because I think there's a lot of, like, anti-celebrity sentiment right now. So I think if he played into that, I think people would be more favorable to him. So, yeah. Anyway, that's the show for today. Thank you all for joining the show, and thank you for actually staying all this time. It's been over 2 hours. I can't believe we talked that long. But like I said, we did have a lot to discuss. Thank you all for being very civil during our more controversial moments. Thank you for just being, like, very, like, understanding and kind. I love that we can have these debates and serious discussions and you guys don't get toxic, like, ever. Like, I've really built, like, a really nice community, so that's nice. Yeah, you guys are so great. Now, this Sunday I probably will be busy all day next Sunday. So, the next show will probably be Saturday or Monday. In fact, it might actually be Monday, not next Sunday, because I will be busy. Yeah. I will let you know. Because I also want to make sure that I give Wicked its own video. So what I might do So I might do, like, on Saturday, do one live stream. Maybe that'll be my Wicked review. And then on Monday, I'll have, like, my normal news show. So just keep an eye out for my Twitter and on my community page where I update you guys on what's happening with the show. Because I will be doing, like, a whole separate video just for Wicked in my review. So make sure you subscribe for that. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming to my show. Thank you for staying for so long. I hope you enjoyed this stream, and I'll see you soon.